So remember how I said I had a big video about April 2nd coming up? Well, this is that video. And of course, a huge part of the 4-2 thing is Jennifer Syme, Keanu Reeves' old girlfriend, who died on that date in the year 2001, exactly 162 days before 9/11/01. And of course, 6/11 is the 162nd day of the year, so that is a colossal deal. And Keanu was born on September 2nd, 1964. Remember Seattle Slew's son, Slew A. Side. And going forward, I'm going to call him Slewacy because I don't want to get flagged. But wouldn't you know, he was euthanized on September 2nd, 2000. So he was euthanized on Keanu Reeves' birth date. And before I move on, take a look at his earnings. $2,160, or $216.84. So Slewacy died on Keanu Reeves' birth date, and he was born April 15th, 1980. So his birth date was 13 days after Jennifer Syme's death date on 4/2. But what is a big deal about this? A really, really big deal that I did not know until very recently. Namely because I did not know Keanu Reeves' birth date. April 2nd is the 92nd day of the year. So tell me, what are the odds that Keanu Reeves was born on 9/2 and his girlfriend died on the 92nd day of the year, 4/2? I mean, this is mind-blowing right here. And as soon as I heard that, I knew I had to make a video on this. I mean, that is just pure insanity. But believe me, it gets even better. Stick around. And Jennifer Syme died at the incredibly young age of 28. In fact, she was barely older than Michelle Skalnick when she died. And of course, 28 is a perfect number. It's also the 18th composite, and the 28th composite is 42. She died on 4/2. I'm telling you, there's no way she was not a ritual sacrifice. I'm becoming more and more convinced of it all the time. Now, from Jennifer's death date in 2001 to Keanu Reeves' birthday that year, exactly 153 days. 153 is the 116th composite. You're backwards 6/11, you're upside down 9/11. And remember, she died 162 days before 9/11. 153rd composite is also 200, and the 200th day of the year is 7/19, which is Donald Trump's reverse birth date. And by the way, this was going to Keanu Reeves' EL birthday. Remember, he played Neo, the One, and his passport expired on 9/11/2001. Again, Syme died 162 days before 9/11. I mean, come on, man. No way in hell this is a coincidence. Not in any reality. Also, 13,514 days. 514 plus 13 is 527. The Golden Gate Bridge opened on 527 to foot traffic. It opened on my birth date, 5/28, to vehicles. But the bottom line is that it opened, period, on 5/27, so that is what I consider its birth date. And 135 plus 14 is 149, and the 149th day of the year is JFK's birthday. And it's also exactly 444 months Anytime you see a triple number, it's a big deal. Anytime you see all of the same numbers, no matter how many there are, it's a big deal. And of course, that's half of the 888 Beast System number. You know, like the Beast System that Neo was fighting to get out of. Now remember that Keanu and Jennifer were going to have a baby, but the baby was stillborn at 8 months. So the baby's birth date of December 24th, 1999 was also her death date. And the name was Ava Archer Syme Reeves, though on the gravestone it's just Ava Archer Reeves. Well, get ready for some knock your socks off info, because from their daughter's death date to 6/11 this year is 9,666 days. Are you kidding me? We have our 666 with our 9, which of course can be flipped and also become a 6. But it gets even better, because 96 plus 66 equals 162. And this is going from their daughter's death date to 6/11, the 162nd day of the year. But not only do we get our 6/11 number going to 6/11, we also get 9 plus 6 plus 6 is 21. 2, 16, 8, 4. As you can see here, 9 plus 6 plus 6 equals 21, and with that last 6, it would be your 216. So we get both our 8-4 and our 6/11 numbers. And even with multiplication, it's interesting, because 9 times 6 times 6 times 6 is 1944. And what happened in 1944? D-Day. And what happens the day after 6/11 this year? Spielberg releases that film Disclosure Day, which is like D-Day. And 9 times 666 is 5994. Now, 994 plus 5 would be 999. You're upside down 666. That always happens with your triple numbers when you're multiplying them. But the more interesting part is 59 plus 94. Because remember, Jennifer Syme died 153 days before Keanu Reeves' birthday. And this equals 153. Not only that, but her daughter has a death date numerology of 154. And if you were to include the end date going from Jennifer's death to Keanu's birth in the same year, it would be 154 days. And from their baby's death to 6/11 this year is also 317 months, 18 days. Our big 137 with our 18 Elvis Jesse birth date. And March 17th plus 18 days would land on 44, the kill number. Now let's continue on from Ava's birth/death date to 8/4 this year. 9,720 days. What's 9 plus 7? 16. So this would again be 162. Our 6/11. Once again connecting to our 8/4. 9 times 7 times 2 is also 126, which connects to Trump. And this is going to 8/4, remember. Because the 126 composite is 165, and Trump born on the 165th day of the year. 26 plus 7 plus 11 is your 44 kill number. And 319 plus 11 is 330 or 33. And getting back to Ava's birth/death date numerology of 154, her mother had death date numerology of 27. And remember that she was born on 12/7, the Pearl Harbor date. And of course, the 27th day of the year is 127. Add up their death date numerologies and you get 181, which is the 42nd prime number. And again, Jennifer Syme died on 4/2. I mean, this is just pure insanity all around. Now, Ava Archer Syme Reeves equals our big 111 number. Remember, the Seattle Space Needle opened on the 111th day of the year. 9/11 leaves 111 days remaining in the year. Also, our 1800 or 1818. The 300th day of the year is 10/27 or 127. Remember, Jennifer Syme born on 12/7. 213 ordinal, which is the 165th composite. Trump, of course, born on the 165th day of the year. 878 in Satanic. The composite is 1056. Drop that 0. It's 156. You know how that number connects to 9/11 twice. 965 reverse Satanic, which is the 802nd composite. Drop the 0. Seattle equals 82. And if we just type her name like it says on her tombstone, Ava Archer Reeves, 151 is the 36th prime. We get our 254. The 254th day of the year is 9/11. Again, Jennifer died 162 days before 9/11. I cannot stress that enough. 4/2 is a very important date because it is 162 days before 9/11. So it connects to the 42, the 6/11, the 9/11, all of it. Elvis's death age, Washington State being the 42nd state, etc. 92, her dad, Keanu, born on 92, and her mother died on the 92nd day of the year. 162 days before this day. 70 in reduction. I want to show you something here, because it's the 50th composite. And look at the 50th triangular, 1275. In Latin, the hardest cipher to find matches in, Jesus Christ equals 1275. So anytime you see 50, know that it connects to our Lord and Savior. Now back to Ava, 1764 in Latin, which is the 42nd square. Again, our 4/2. Jennifer Syme died on 4/2. 676 in Satanic, our 6776 combo. It's the 26th square pointing to this year, 2026. With the 179 in Fibonacci, I wanted to point out the interesting triangular, our upside down 9/11/01 numbers. Remember, again, she died 162 days before 9/11. Did Ava's mother. And 885. Its composite is 1065. Drop the 0. 165. Trump, born on the 165th day of the year. And just Ava, some pretty interesting numbers, especially that 57, because 5/7, Seattle Slew's death date, is the 127th day of the year, and Ava's mother was born on 12/7. Also 213, which again connects to the 165, and our 162611 number right here. Our 4/2, her mother died on 4/2, and 255 in trigonal. Its composite is 322, our skull and bones number, and it is the 200th composite. 200th day of the year is again 7/19, Trump's reverse birth date. And by the way, earlier, when going from Jennifer's death date to Keanu's birth date in the same year, I foolishly forgot to mention that it's also 21 weeks and 6 days, or our 216/8/4. Now, real quick, I wanted to show some random connections with Keanu, going from the Seattle Space Needle's opening date to his birth date. 2 years, 4 months, 12 days. Consider this February. February 4th plus 12th would be February 16th, or 216, our 8-4. 2 plus 4 plus 12 is also 18, or 1-8, Elvis' birth date. 123, which is a murder code, weeks and 4 days. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. And 123 plus 4 is 127. Jennifer Syme, born on 127. From Keanu's birth to Seattle Slew's Triple Crown win on 6/11/77, 46.65 days. 4 plus 6 plus 6 is 16. 165, Trump, born on the 165th day of the year. And 46 plus 65 equals our 111. Also 153 months, 9 days. Remember that Keanu's birthday was 153 days after Jennifer died. 153 plus 9, what is that? Yep, it's 162, our 611. And this is going from Keanu's birth to Seattle Slew's Triple Crown win on 6/11/77. And it keeps getting better because it's also 666 weeks and 3 days. Of course, we know that 1998 is the 666 year because 666 times 3 equals 1998. And Jennifer Syme and Keanu met in 1998. And it's 1278.8% of a common year. Our 127 with our 88 Trump portal double infinity number. Now, of course, as Seattle Slew's son, Slewacy, died on Keanu Reeves' birth date, we're going to go from Keanu's actual date of birth to Slewacy's death date. 13,149 days. That's a 13 with a 149. Of course, 149th day of the year is JFK's birthday. You know what happened to him. But 131 plus 49 is 180. Like Flight 180 from the Final Destination series. Elvis 18. But what's even better than that? 149 plus 13. As it's 162. Once again, our 611. And this is Seattle Slew's son, from Keanu's birth date to his death date. And don't forget that Slewacy's name equals our 162 in reverse. Also 81, the 81st day of the year, is 322, Michelle Trachtenberg's reverse birth date, and our 137 in Latin. But yes, if we consider this 149, JFK's birth date, May 29th, 13 days later, is 611. And of course, Keanu turned our 36 on Slewacy's death date. 1878 plus 3 is 1881. Our 1881 combo with an 88 in the middle. Now, if we go from Slewacy's birth to his death, it's a total of 7,445 days. That's our 7-4 with our 45. Trump, of course, the 45-47 president, or 45-47. Get what I'm saying? With our 44 kill number right in the middle. And of course, 7-4 this year is the huge 250-year anniversary. 5 plus 4 plus 4 is 13. 7/13, Trump's ear clip date, Shannon Doherty death date, and 74 plus 45 is 119, you're backwards 9/11. 74 times 45 is also 3,330, or our big 333, half of 666. And 20 plus 4 plus 18 is our 42. Again, who died on 4/2. Or you consider this 204 plus 18, your 222 order out of chaos as above, so below number. And 244 plus 18 is 262. The 262nd day of the year is September 19th. Very important date for a variety of reasons. Just one off the top of my head, James Garfield died on that date. And a real quick sidebar, Charles J. Goutier, who assassinated Garfield, he was executed on June 30th, 1882. Garfield himself died 79 days after being shot. Trump, of course, currently 79. But more importantly, he was hanged 284 days after Garfield died, or 9 months and 11 days. Now, we're very familiar with these numbers, aren't we? Because Michelle Trachtenberg was born on the 284th day of the year, 9 months and 11 days into the year. Now, Sluisy also lived a total of 1,063 weeks and 4 days. 1,063 plus 4 is 1,067, or 167, drop that 0. And speaking of Michelle, 167 is the 39th prime. She died at the age of 39, which points to the year 2026. And the 167th composite is 215, Seattle Slew's birth date, Sluisy's dad. And remember, everything about Michelle points to the year 2026. Again, she died at 39, which is the 26th composite. And from Sluisy's birth to his dad's death on 5/7/2002, 8,057 days. 80 plus 57 is our big 137 number, the 33rd prime. 22 years, 22 days. 22 plus 22 is the 44 kill number. And from Seattle Slew's birth to his son's death, 96 days, twin 96s. And honestly, that's a pretty loaded number all around, but I'm not going to get into it. It should pretty much speak for itself. And 266 plus 18 is again 284. And the two horses died 612 days apart. 6/12, George Bush Sr. birthday, are backwards 2/16/84. Also 1 year, 8 months, 5 days. 185 is the 142nd composite, the 142nd day of the year, 5/22, Memphis's founding date, the Gift Tower Sacrifice air date. The 205th composite is 261, you're backwards 162. 87 weeks, 3 days. 87 plus 3 is 91. Elvis is currently 91 years of age. And 167.67% common year. Drop that 1 and it's twin 67s. You know what that means. But yeah, I thought it would be interesting to run those numbers since Seattle Slew's son died on Keanu's 36th birthday. Now, we all know that Elvis was a twin and that his brother Jesse died at birth or was sacrificed or whatever truly happened. So how interesting if we go from Elvis's death date to the stillbirth of Jennifer and Keanu's daughter. It's 8,165 days. That is your 8/16 Elvis death date with your 165 Trump born on the 165th day of the year. So that's both your Elvis death date and your Trump birth date in the amount of days, going from Elvis's death to Ava Reeves Symes' death. Now, what are the odds of this? I'm asking you, please tell me, because I think they're pretty damn low. And not only that, but if we go 8 days after Trump's birthday, we land on 6/22, our backwards 226, which is the 173rd day of the year, our big 137 number. And if we add 5 to 8/16, we land on 8/21, which is the 142nd prime number. Again, Memphis was founded on the 142nd day of the year. It's also the Gift Tower Sacrifice air date, which, by the way, aired the next month after Jennifer Syme died. Now, there's so much more there with the whole Jennifer Syme story, but I'm going to get back to that later in another video dedicated solely to her, because there's a lot to unpack there. I want to end her part of the story here for this video, going from her death date on 4/2/2001, which was 162 days before 9/11. Yes, I'll keep saying it. To 6/11 this year, 9,201 days. Now let's get to the less important stuff first. 9 times 2 times 1 is 18, or 1/8. And 9 plus 2 is 11. 1101, or 1011. But more importantly, of course, 92 times 1 is just 92. And Jennifer Syme died on the 92nd day of the year. Her boyfriend, Keanu, born on 9/2. I mean, I don't know what happened. Maybe he wanted to sacrifice her. Maybe he blamed her for the pregnancy mishap. Maybe I don't know. I'll speculate on it more when I dedicate a video to her, but the whole thing is just insane. And the 92 connection brings it all together. And 25 plus 2 plus 9 is 36, but more importantly, February 5th plus 2 plus 9 is 216. Like the 216th day of the year is 8/4, once again connecting to our 6/11. And by the way, this number also reminds me of 90210. And remember, not having that second 0 doesn't matter because it's 0. So it doesn't matter. It's like it's not even there. Well, Shannen Doherty's birthday is 4/12, so Jennifer Syme died 10 days before her 30th birthday. And remember the 90210 code I found going from Shannon's final date on Charmed to 8/4 this year, 90210. And of course, her final date on Charmed was the 137th day of the year, our big 33rd prime. Well, not only did Jennifer die 10 days before Shannon's 30th birthday, she died 45 days before her final appearance on Charmed on the 137th day of the year. Trump again, the 45-47 president. Also 1 month, 15 days, and 1 month, 15 days into the year is 215, Seattle Slew's birth date. And if we go from Jennifer Syme's death to 8/4 this year, 9,255 days, our 92 with our 55 Satan number, and again, Jennifer died on the 92nd day of the year, and Keanu was born on 9/2. And yeah, if we add these numbers up again, we get our 1110, 1011, but more importantly, 9 plus 2 plus 5 is 16, 165. Trump, born on the 165th day of the year, and this is going to the date of his supposed head wound. And if you want to see something even more incredible, 925 plus 5 is 930. And September 30th is 4/2's reverse date, as 92 days remain until the end of the year. I mean, are you understanding what I'm showing you here, man? Come on. And from Jennifer's death to 8/4 is 25 years, 4 months, 2 days. That's our 254. The 254th day of the year is 9/11 with our 4/2 when Jennifer died on 4/2, 162 days before 9/11. How crazy is that? But really, when it comes to talking about the importance of 4/2, I really don't think it gets any more explosive than talking about Jennifer Syme, because Keanu is obviously a huge player. That's why he was Neo. That's why his passport expired on 9/11/01. And for his girlfriend to die on 4/2, the 92nd day of the year, him being born on 9/2, and for her death to be exactly 162 days before the 9/11 event. Yeah, you're not going to find any greater importance. So I could really just stop the video here, but I'm not going to. Because there's more. There's always more. Now, in the news recently was the death of actress Mary Beth Hurt. I've only ever seen 2 of her movies, The Dead Girl and Parents with Randy Quaid. And she died on March 28th, 2026. Of course, 3 times 28 is your 8-4. And you might be asking yourself, well, what does this have to do with 4/2? Well, guess who she was married to? 79-year-old Paul Schrader, who was born on July 22nd, which of course is 6/11's reverse date, and he directed Cat People. Do you remember I mentioned him and I talked about Cat People in one of my previous videos? But before I move on, again, he was born on June 11th's reverse date, and his wife died on 3/28. 3 times 28 is 8-4. So her death connects to both. In fact, you could connect Schrader to the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan as well, because he wrote Taxi Driver, which they said inspired John Hinckley Jr. And if you watch Jurassic Liars channel, as you should, you know how that whole assassination attempt connects to 8-4. And Paul Schrader's Cat People was released on 4/2/1982. And with a very interesting cast, believe me. Tons of interesting dates and bits of information about the people here. Right there's John Hurd. He played the dad in Home Alone. Although he really should be known for the film he did with Jeff Bridges in the early 80s, Cutter's Way, which I think is a masterpiece. But most interesting here is Barry Berenson. And why is she the most interesting member of the cast? Because look at her death date, September 11th, 2001. She was supposedly on one of the so-called planes that crashed into one of the Twin Towers that day. Now, I, of course, don't believe there were any planes that day, so what really happened to her is anyone's guess. But regardless, we once again have our 4/2 connecting to 9/11. As she was in Cat People, released on 4/2/1982, exactly 162 days before 9/11/1982, and she would go on to die on 9/11/2001, which Jennifer Syme died exactly 162 days before on 4/2/2001. And remember that 162 is our 6/11 number. In fact, it says that she was a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11. So that would be 11611. And by the way, American Airlines Flight 11 in Gematria with the 11 typed out equals 276, which is the 217th composite. Remember, the year of the Fire Horse is this year, and it started on 217. 217 is also our weapons number from the 88 Lionsgate portal date. And of course, it's our buildings 127, 12-7 numbers. Also 141, which also equals June 11th, World War III, Seattle Slough, etc. 480 or 48. And Barry was born in 1948. 165, again, Trump born on the 165th day of the year. 1348 in Latin. And get a load of the prime number. 911 all over it. And lastly, 1984 in trigonal. Everyone born in 84 turns 42 in 2026. And remember, cat people. Released on 4/2. This video all about 4/2. 4/2 is 162 days before 9/11. It says her remains were never found, but at the National 9/11 Memorial and Museum, her name is inscribed on panel N76 at the North Pool. To get our 76 in there. George Bush Jr., the 9/11 president birth date. And her children's names, Osgood and Elvis. The Elvis one is self-explanatory. Osgood, Oz, like the Emerald City. And her husband, Anthony Perkins, was born on 4/4, the kill number, only 2 days after 4/2. And when you know he died September 12th, 1992, the day after 9/11. And his wife would go on to die on 9/11, 9 years later. Or so they say. AP 116, you're backwards 611, you're upside down 911. Again, the connections just, once you see them, don't they just boggle your mind? I mean, come on. If this stuff doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. And Barry was born on April 14th. 10 days after her husband, 2 days after Shannon Doherty, and 12 days after 4/2, Jennifer Symes' death date. Her real name, Barinthia Berenson, 178 ordinal. A loaded number because it's the 137th composite. The prime is 1061, our 611 upside down 911 numbers, and the composite is 228. The Iran War started on 228. Elvis died on the 228th day of the year. Remember, she has a son named Elvis. 88 in reduction, our Trump Lionsgate portal double infinity number. It's the 64th composite. The Seattle Space Needle turns 64 this year. And again, you know that's a huge number. The 88th composite is our backwards 9/11. She died on 9/11. 281, which is the 60th prime, which I'll talk about when I get to that. 101, the 26th prime, pointing to this year. 1068, not quite our 1086, the beast system number, but is the 888th composite, and 888 is our beast system number without the. 773, which is the 137th prime, and now that's 60. Which Super Bowl did we have this year that was all connected to Elvis in Seattle? And of course 60 is the 42nd composite, and the 60th composite is 84. In fact, look at the cube. 216 with 3 zeros. Now if you want to add her husband's last name, we get some pretty big numbers, but I'm only going to point to this because I want to move the video along. Our 1620 or 162 611. Also our 111 110 combo, which can also be a 1011. You know who was born on 1011, who is all about the tower sacrifice. Born 9 months, 11 days into the year. I mean, I don't even have to mention her name at this point, right? And by the way, Cat People was a remake of a film from 1942. There's our 4-2 again. And I have to mention this because Jennifer Syme, her last name, the story of the name Syme is long and rich in history. It begins among the Bernicians of the Scottish-English borderlands, where the name was derived from the medieval given name Sim, which was derived from Simon. And guess who was the star of the original Cat People in 1942? Simone Simon. I mean, are you seeing the pattern? And Simone Simon was also born in April. Like, all these people have the connections to April. April 23rd, 1911. There's our 9/11/01 numbers. And she died on February 22nd, 2005. Our 222, order out of chaos, as above, so below number. And by the way, with all the 9/11 connections, and believe me, I'm going to show you another, I wanted to go from Simone Simon's birth in 1911 to 9/11/01. It's 33,014 days. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6/14, Trump's birth date. And 33 plus 14 is 47. Like Trump is the 47 president. And 4 plus 5 is 9. 4 plus 7 is 11. 9/11. We also have our 314 pi number. Add 3 to that, get 317. Our 137, our backwards 713. Remember what came out on 3/17 in the year 2000, the year before 9/11, all about a plane exploding. Final Destination. Who is the famous horror producer who produced the original Cat People? Val Lewton. Born on May 7th, the 127th day of the year, Seattle Sleuth's death date in the year 1904. Died on Pi Day, 1951. In Final Destination, Kristen Cloak plays Valerie Lewton, or Val Lewton for short, in homage to the original Val Lewton. And get a load of Kristen Cloak's birth date, September 2nd, 1968. Same birthday as Keanu Reeves, 4 years after he was born. She's born on 9/2, like Jennifer Syme, died on the 92nd day of the year, 4/2, and she's 57 years old. Val Lewton, born on 5/7. Can you see the incredible puzzle in front of you here? I mean, I can't help but laugh, really. I mean, it's pretty sad, a lot of it, but you just can't help but laugh. You have to laugh. And I told you I had another 9/11 connection for you. 2, in fact, because if you go from Val Lewton's death date to the birth of the woman who played Val Lewton in Final Destination, it's 9/11 weeks and 6 days. You're 9/11 forwards, you're 6/11 backwards. And 6 plus 3 is 9, 8 plus 3 is 11, 9/11. You can also do it like 8 plus 3 plus 3 is 14. 6/14, Trump birth date. And 17 plus 5 plus 20 is 42. What is this video all about? The 4/2 date. Now, obviously, the Cat People remake was released 162 days before 9/11/82, but going to 9/11/01, it's 7,102 days, or our 712 buildings 127 and 12-7 Pearl Harbor numbers. If you were to include the end date, that would be your 7/13 Trump ear clip Shannon death date. Also 19 years, 5 months, 9 days. Now, Trump's ear clip and Shannon's death date was on the 195th day of a leap year. 9 days after that, 7/22, and that is 6/11's reverse date. And back to Mary Beth Hurt for a minute. She has a ton of connections, so I'll talk more about her later, but I did want to show her name in gematria. 159 in ordinal, that's the 121st composite. The 121st day of the year is May Day, the day of pagan sacrifice. You know all about the 60 I showed you earlier. 165, Trump born on the 165th day of the year. The 66 twin number. 1014, Charlie Kirk, birth date. That's in the Latin cipher, the hardest cipher to find matches in. Also 990, which is the 44th triangular, 44 the kill number. 585, its composite is 713, Trump's ear clip date, Shannon's death date. And 529 in primes, that's JFK's birth date. Also Riley Keough's birth date. And before Paul Schrader, she was married to William Hurt, and he died on March 13th, 2022. And if we go from William Hurt's death to 8/4 this year, it's 1,605 days. Of course, you drop that 0, 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year. And by the way, William Hurt was in the movie Dark City, and in that movie, the main character, played by Rufus Sewell, wakes up in room 614. But I'm going to talk more about that in one of my upcoming decodes. Now I'm going to rush through the rest of this video as best I can because I've been working on this video for the past several days on and off because I haven't had much time. I've been trying to get it ready for the 4/2 date, as it's all about 4/2. But also there's some 4/1 stuff in here because the Seattle Space Needle prank was on 4/1/1989, and the very day before that was the release of Heathers. I've talked about this before. In that film, there's a character played by Christian Slater named JD. His dad is a building demolitionist, and Heathers came out 47 days before 9/11. Trump, the 45-47 president, and 45-47 is 9/11. Heathers about JD, a guy who goes around killing people and making it look like they unalived themselves. And he tries blowing up his high school at the end of the movie. And his dad is a building demolitionist. What happened on 9/11? Come on now. And of course, in previous videos, I made the connection with J.D. Vance, as Slater's character is named J.D. But as 4/1 and 4/2 and 3/31 all pretty much go hand in hand, as if they're all right after the other, I wanted to get this in here real quick. On the release date of Heathers, J.D. Vance was 1,702 days old. That's our 12/7, buildings 127 numbers. Go figure, right? J.D., the son of a building demolitionist, in the film released 47 days before 9/11, and you have your 127 numbers. Include the end date, and it's your 137 numbers. There's also the fact that 1 plus 7 is 8. 2, drop the 0, 82. Seattle equals 82. 47 plus 29 is 76. George Bush Jr., the 9/11 president. And 55 plus 29 equals 84. Our 8/4. Also, if you consider this May 5th, plus 29 days, you land on 6/4. The Seattle Space Needle turns 64 this year. The very next day after 3/31 was the Space Needle prank. Now this is the 37-year anniversary of Heathers, you know, our big EL number. It's also the 37-year anniversary of the Space Needle prank. So if we go from J.D. Vance's birth to the anniversary of Heathers this year, include the end date, it's 15,217 days. What is the 1776th prime number? 15,217. And you know what's the big deal about this year on 7-4? You know I'm all over that number because of Southland Tales. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal, especially since the character who's a psychopath in Heathers is JD. And I have a lot more advanced connections coming soon. But I just wanted to show this because of the Heathers Space Needle prank and 4-2 date correlations. And don't forget in Heathers that it's 3 Heathers, HHH, or 888, our beast system number. And they have their friend Veronica, 22, like 228, with an 88. And I have more stuff to talk about regarding the Space Needle prank as well, but I can't fit it all in this video because, again, I'm trying to get it out by April 2nd. But anyway, what happened on April 2nd, 2024? There are 141 more billionaires in the world, according to Forbes, including Taylor Swift for the first time. She was announced on 4/2/24 as a billionaire by Forbes. And by the way, that 141 number is there again. World War III, Seattle Salute, June 11th, etc. Well, guess what else happened in 2024? A mass stabbing targeting young girls occurred at the Heart Space, a dance studio in Southport, Merseyside, United Kingdom. 17-year-old Axel Rudakubana killed 3 children and injured 10 others at a Taylor Swift-themed yoga and dance workshop attended by 26 children. 2 girls died at the scene. 6 injured children and 2 adults were taken to a hospital in critical condition, and a 3rd girl died the following day. And again, more on this and some other Taylor Swift news in a video coming up. I have so much to talk about lately, and I just feel like I'm rushing this, but I don't have a choice. So Taylor Swift was announced as a billionaire by Forbes on 4/2/2024, and then 118 days later, there was the Southport stabbings at a Taylor Swift-themed party. And the stabber's name was Axel Rudakubana. AR. So the stabber's initials are the same as the amount of days between the Swift announcement and the stabbings at the Swift-themed party. A is 1, R is 18. I mean, sorry, I almost cussed. Come on, man. Come on, this is just... yeah, it's something else. And I'm generally not much of a cursor, but I'm getting a little carried away here because this is just explosive info. And if people try to deny this, then they're out of their minds as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, my apologies. I almost cursed there. And it's also 3 months, 27 days. March 27th is the 86th day of the year, like Axel 86th, the girls at that party. 16 weeks, 6 days, you're 166, which is the 127th composite, back around to our 127127. And by the way, I found this very interesting. If you go 666 days after the Southport stabbings, you land on May 26th of this year. And if you go from that date to when Swift's wedding is supposed to be this year on 6/13, it's exactly 18 days. Our 1/8 Elvis birth date, 666 number. And remember, this is the date that is 666 days after the Southport stabbings. Pretty interesting, huh? And one more thing I wanted to show about the 4/2 date before I get off of here. The show Dallas premiered on April 2nd, 1978. You know what happened in Dallas, of course, to JFK. And there was that whole storyline about who shot JR. So J.R. Ewing shot in Dallas like JFK, and who shot Oswald Jack Ruby like J.R.? And by the way, speaking of people who were supposedly shot, Larry Hagman, who played J.R., born on September 21st, that is Charlie Kirk's memorial date. And Dallas ended on Michelle Skalnick's death day in the year 1991. It lasted a total of 4,779 days. Trump, of course, the 45-47 president. He is currently 79. We have a 77 right there in the middle. And if you include the end date, this 79 becomes 80, which Trump will be when 8/4 rolls around. So 79 for June 11th, 80 for August 4th. And 47 plus 79 is 126. You know how that connects to Trump is the 126 composite number is 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year, which means, of course, 47 plus 80 is 127. Again, our 12-7. Now, JR was shot in the episode called A House Divided, broadcast on March 21st, 1980. Remember that 321 is the 254th composite, that 9/11 number. And from that episode's air date to 8/4 this year, when you know who might get shot in Ohio, 16,937 days. 16 plus 937 is 953. And can you believe that 953 is the 162nd prime number? 162, 611, again connecting to 8/4. I mean, come on at this point, really. And if you want to add it up like 169 plus 37, it equals 206, or 26 for this year. And it doesn't stop there, because 9 plus 3 plus 7 is 19. 6 plus 1 is 7. 719, Trump's reverse birth date. And 46 plus 4 plus 14 is 64, the age the Space Needle turns this year. And 556 plus 14 is 570, or 57. Again, the 57th day of the year is when Michelle Trachtenberg died on 226, pointing to this year. And Seattle Slew died on 5/7, the 127th day of the year. But again, the biggest thing is that 162. Again, connecting to the 8/4. And again, it all connects back to 4/2. But I finally finished this video. A lot more to come, because I have a lot of information written down that I need to get videos out for. All glory to God, and hopefully people enjoy this video, because it was a pain to get done. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.